Everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our monthly MiSTer News episode where I talk about all the fun things that have happened in September. Now, fair warning, I've got a very busy back end of the month, so I'm closing this video out early, so if I miss something, there's going to be an even longer episode of MiSTer News in October. But it's been a great month for MiSTer on both the console side, handheld side, as well as the arcade core side, so we're going to talk about all that. Before we get too far involved though, if you want to do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But right off the top, one thing that nobody expected was that we got the Pokemon Mini Core, and I did a full core review and guide for that I will leave a link down below. But this is something that nobody thought was coming, and it is here. And Pokemon Mini, the handheld, it's not obscure, but it's definitely something that most people either don't know about or don't own, and the prices on it are quite expensive these days. So having all of the Pokemon mini games on MiSTer FPGA is just another feather in its cap. It's another amazingly complex and fun and weird system that is now emulated with FPGA cores so that everybody can enjoy it, because trust me, a Pokemon Mini in your hand is just a hand cramping nightmare. This is much better. Now moving over to the console side, there's been some updates on the PlayStation 1 side again. The core maker is always iterating on this, and even though it's quote-unquote done and released to the public, so many new things happen. And right off the top, a little bit nerdy but math-based, is that all of the core timings have been tightened up. And the maker of the core even put up a list versus the last release and today, and you will see those cycle timings between the core and PlayStation 1 are now 1-to-1 accurate. And those aren't the things that you would probably actually notice while playing a game, but they are important background bits, and you'll see here that everything is just amazing. And also, a couple of weeks ago, this core turned 1 year old. Happy birthday to the PlayStation 1 core. I can't believe we've been playing it for a whole year now, from the alphas all the way up to release and beyond. Also, the turbo has been improved in the core as well, so some games that were running faster than a stock PlayStation 1 now run even faster than the original iteration of the turbo. You'll see turbo old and new, and on some games it's giving it 4 to 6 more frames per second, and that is nothing to sneeze about, especially in games that don't run at 30 frames a second. It's amazing to get those closer to 30. It's definitely improved, and I highly recommend that you check that feature out. Now moving over to the arcade core side, there is more work on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles core from Konami, and this is an absolutely iconic arcade game, and you can see the maker is starting to get these photos showing those sprites on the title screen. They're mangled, they start looking like something, and now you see the whole intro screen, even if it isn't on the right position on the screen itself. This is one of the most requested cores. I constantly hear people talking about when is this going to be done, or is anyone working on it, and I can't wait to play this game on MiSTer, because it's just one of those games. If you like arcade games, or if you like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you have 100% played this game, and it's going to be amazing on MiSTer. Now in the deeper cut category, a game I didn't expect to see, but it is here now, is Truxton II or Tatsujin Oh. I have this on the FM Towns Marty, and it's a great version, but it is extremely expensive and quite rare, and the arcade version is definitely superior, and having that on MiSTer is amazing, because trust me, if you look up the price for an arcade PCB of this, if you can even find one to buy, you're not going to like the number you see. But if you're looking for a rare, obscure shmup that is amazing and highly challenging, definitely check it out, because this game is out to kill you, and when you die you lose all your power-ups and you get sent back further into the stage. But definitely this is so much fun to have on MiSTer, because I feel like a lot of people probably haven't actually played Truxton II or Tatsujin Oh at this point in time. They've probably played the original game, just not this one quite yet. We also got an update to the Irem M72 core, and there's a lot of awesome games on there as well that people can play and enjoy. You'll see a list right here, stuff like R-Type, Ninja Spirit, Image Fight, Gallop, things like that, and it's a lot of fun to have this core. It was actually updated for more compatibility, and I'll get to that in just a moment. What I'm going to let you do in just a second is listen to a little bit of the soundtrack of Gallop and get a sense of how it sounds on MiSTer, because it sounds quite good, and I will be right back, but enjoy that audio. sounds exactly like the hardware should, which is to say it's a little bit crackly, but that is just the hardware, and it is doing a great job at replicating what you would expect out of that Irem board, because Irem boards never had awesome audio, but playing this core, everything seems to be working perfectly fine, and I give it a thumbs up, and it's another awesome and obscure shmup. But speaking of shmups, R-Type 2 is now available on the Irem core as well, because this is a slight pivot from the base hardware, but it is working on MiSTer as well. That core has been updated to support different games, and you'll see here if we go over to System 16 and take a look at the list, it is not as long as the original Irem hardware we were just talking about, but it does include some fun games, and of course you can't go wrong with R-Type 2, which is now available on MiSTer as well, and that is absolutely spectacular. So go ahead and check these games out. I think you're really going to love them. Now moving over to the Saturn side, at least at the time of recording, there's been no updates to the core yet, but I have been going through in videos and testing your request as to see what games are running, which ones aren't, and how well they're running, and hopefully SRG320 does get a chance to update this core at some point in time. But like I've mentioned in many previous videos, he's got a lot of stuff going on, so we have to be patient for him. But it is surprising how many of Saturn's best games actually are working in this core, and working really well. You can play some stuff and you can enjoy it, but it's so much fun to see how things get made and how they are functioning. It's just a ton of fun to check that sort of stuff out. But we keep pivoting from console to arcade, and Ikari Warriors 3 is now starting to run. You can see some sprite sheets here and how they're being interpolated, and this game is apparently in core. I didn't have a chance to capture footage, but this is me running it in MAME. I can't say that it's as good as the original Ikari Warriors, but there's a ton of fans out there for this game, and it is fun to see some of these other arcade cores coming to MiSTer as well, because the console side of things is eventually going to slow down, because MiSTer has almost everything on it, except cough cough 3DO, and it's never going to be complete without that console, but that's just my opinion. But all joking aside, all these fun little arcade cores are spectacular. Now from Hotego, a lot of awesome updates, because he hired another engineer who's going to be working on Neo Geo Pocket full time, and that's a core that I cannot wait to see, because I know so few people have any experience with the Neo Geo Pocket hardware, and there are a ton of fun games on it. So it's fun to see that Hotego is expanding, adding new employees, and hopefully that means that some of these things like Neo Geo Pocket will be coming to MiSTer sooner rather than later, because all of this work takes a ton of time, and the more hands you have to work on something, the quicker you can get it done. So I can't wait to see what happens with the Neo Geo Pocket core. Another interesting game that came to MiSTer is Snow Brothers 2, and this is just a strange game that I'm never quite sure what to make of. It's definitely got some Bubble Bobble vibes going on with it, things like Nightmare in the Dark as well in Neo Geo, but the character selection screen just kind of weirds me out. I don't understand what the art style of this game is going for. But once you actually get into the game, if you like Bubble Bobble, if you like something like Nightmare in the Dark, you're going to love this game as well, and it's so much fun to get this on MiSTer, because it's not a game, again, that I think many people have probably ever heard of or played. Believe me, comment down below and tell me if you know what Snow Brothers is, but it's just one of those games that's pick up and play. It's a ton of fun, and I love it. Back to Hotego for a second though, he does have a Model 1 board, and it seems like he might be hinting at trying to get that to run on MiSTer, and I do think Model 1 would be a fun addition, and I do get a lot of questions if I think Model 2 would run on MiSTer. Being a non-engineer, I still think it would probably be highly impossible, because that equipment is very high test and probably wouldn't fit in the logic of the FPGA chip. But if we could get something like Model 1 on MiSTer, that would be absolutely incredible, because it is a really fun piece of hardware with some great games. Now I keep getting questions, is the shortage of these boards getting any better? And honestly, you know, for US vendors, something like DigiKey or Mouser, it doesn't seem to be, but you can pre-order a DE10 Nano kit from Terasic directly, and it's estimated to ship date by the end of the month. So if you are looking to get a MiSTer, I still recommend you guys go directly to Terasic. Shipping can apparently be high, but hey, if you want to get in on all the fun, you kind of have to pay the price. And not news for this month, but something I totally missed, and I guess I don't know everything about MiSTer. I never thought I did. There's a Roston core, the best arcade game Taito ever made in 2D in the 80s in my opinion. So if you didn't know, like me, Roston's on MiSTer, and you have to go play it. But yeah, that's all the news that happened in September, but don't forget I did cut this video off slightly earlier, so if something happened after this recording, it'll be in an even longer MiSTer news episode coming out in October. But yeah, if there's anything that I haven't made yet for MiSTer that you want to see, leave me a comment down below, because I do like making what you guys want to watch. And if you want more Saturn testing videos, leave me a comment as well. But yeah, September was an awesome month for MiSTer, and I can't wait to see what October brings. I really got my fingers crossed for maybe a special announcement for some horror gaming cores. Try that. See you guys next time. Bye bye.